Brad, how did
Avery re-sprained it. We did another look at it. He's out tonight, and then possibly we'll be out after that. But hopefully it's going to be something that's not long term. It doesn't look like it will be. It looks like it's just same as the first one, so not a long term thing.
Will he travel?
It's a re-sprain, but
yeah, I guess they thought it was, I guess they thought maybe in the Philly game when we talked about it when he came out, didn't play much in the second half. But no, it didn't. He felt and the doctors felt good about it. He came back the first time, according to everything I did, and they, just aggravated.
Is that something to travel? The same exact place?
I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that he's he was obviously sore. He sat out the Friday game against Sacramento and then played against Dallas. He felt better and played against Dallas, but clearly didn't look like himself. And that's when he got reevaluated Monday, didn't play against Milwaukee, and then he did more of the doctors. Met with the doctors yesterday. Everybody else took a new scan.
Brandon, good to go tonight?
Brandon is good to go. Yeah, so he's got that's an uncomfortable feeling when it first happens, but he feels a lot better.
Does he have to work out?
I don't think so. That's a good question, Mark. We didn't wear it in our walkthrough today, but we did nothing. So, I don't know the answer to that.
Do you think he could host the Olympics?
What's that?
Do you think he could host the Olympics? Bob Costas is out because
I had to leave a game on senior day because I had corneal edema in both eyes.
Really?
And I couldn't see at halftime. And so anybody that has anything like that, I've got a lot of respect for because that is not a fun feeling.
Is that in some way kind of almost good news with Avery? Because anytime there's a recurrence of injury, you go for a second MRI, and sometimes you can say, what you're going to find the second time. It's kind of like, okay, it's just another sprain, we can get through that.
Well, I think it's always concerning when a guy is unable to play, right? But again, it's not a long-term issue, so it's we'll be very, like I thought we were last time. From everything that I could tell, I know that our doctors and our training staff will do their due diligence, and we'll be very conservative with bringing him back, as we should be.
how's Rondo?
Rondo seems to be doing well, and he will be playing tonight.
These teams get a lot of injuries, but also they have a collective pride, collective ego. That's what makes the Spurs team so tough and so good.
Well, first of all, I think some of the most inspiring basketball I've ever watched is when they don't have all their players. Some of the most inspiring basketball I've ever watched is when they do have all their players. They're just. I think they're one of the very few elite teams in the league. They move the ball, they move bodies, they know their system inside and out. They can plug people into those spots, and on any given night, that person can have 20 or 25 points. And the other night in Charlotte, they're struggling early on, and Patty Mills comes off the bench and goes for 32. And as they're running actions for him at the end, and other teams are running for also. And that's the way they are. They have a tremendous system, and I have nothing but the most respect for them because they're basketball in the purest form, both ends of the court.
Brad,
What are you going to use the roster going for? You personally.
What am I going to use it for? I've got to do some things tomorrow. I'll work on Friday just to kind of get myself organized heading into Phoenix, and then I'll take the weekend with my family off, and then we're going to reconvene. We've got a gym on Monday for guys that get in early if they just want to shoot and work out, and then we'll reconvene Tuesday and practice. So I think it's imperative and important that everybody in our travel party gets mentally ready for the next 28 games or however many regular season games are left, and making sure that we are playing our very best basketball when we reconvene, but also take couple of days and take a breath.
Obviously, Avery's been a guy that's really built his reputation as a defender. Do you maybe miss his shooting just as much, though?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think obviously he misses defensive ability. When he's able to really direct the ball, that's very helpful. But his shooting is certainly something that you do miss depending on how the rest of your team is shooting that night. You know, the other night we shot pretty well, you know, a guy like Chris Johnson helps catch that a little bit because he does that well and he gets the spots well. And then, you know, obviously when Jeff's making shots like he did the other night, you don't miss the shooting quite as much. But you know, it's nice to know that you got a scorer over there that has improved as a scorer. And you know, we talked. He's only going to get better scoring the ball because it's going to get more efficient. Well, I don't think plus minus is the end all be all, but I feel really good when he's in the game. We talked about it after the Dallas game. He always does his job. There's no in between. He's going to do his job. He's very reliable in doing his job. And as a result, it makes everybody else around it better. And so, defensively, I thought the other night, he turned it up on Neal in the third quarter. That's when we started to take control of the game. And it was hard for Neal to get open, and Chris did a great job on that end of the court. And then on the other end of the court, his ability to stretch the floor, not only with his shooting, but also with his motor to get there, is really, really important. And, that's he's going to continue to play a lot for it.
Brett.
Avery, do you have any consideration in starting Chris at the 2, or is this just
No, I actually like some of the flexibility defensively that the Jeff Gerald lineup gives us. And I also think in the starts, specifically in the last couple of weeks, I think Gerald's really given us great minutes. So it would be between Gerald and Chris, and I think Gerald gives us a lot of flexibility on defense. They've got to match a smaller guard up with either Jeff or Gerald, and then we can come in with we can leave one of those guys in so we're big at the 3 or regular size 3, and then bring Chris in for whoever.
Brett.
One of your team's 3-point shooting this year, I think they're like 33%.
Well, obviously I'd like to be better. I think the very best teams stretch you with multiple players. I think you could make an argument that if you're not a great scorer at the rim, you don't get to the foul line, and you can't shoot the 3, you're in a tough spot in this league. And maybe you got a couple back to the basket players that don't fit that category, and it's just a couple of mid-range players that are elite that don't fit that category. But three-pointer is, along with getting layups and getting to the foul line, as important a shot as there is in the game.
Do you think you guys should be better at this?
Well, I think our young guys will get better at shooting it, but a lot of them are extending their range as we speak for shooting. Right? Sullinger and Olynyk's never been a volume three-point shooter in his life, or at least statistically at Gonzaga he wasn't. Those guys have to shoot, and we talked about that. He won Sullinger in the paint, but he also has to be able to stretch the defense. Olynyk has to be able to stretch the defense. No limit for us. And I think that's something that he feels more comfortable on a day-to-day basis doing. And then, our guards even, we talked about Avery has done a nice job extending his range, but he still can continue to improve in that regard and will continue to improve in that regard. We spent a lot of time shooting. I think it's more about, just these guys get more reps and get more comfortable firing away from that distance.
Coach, is there a specific number of threes you like to see in the game? Obviously, it's a big piece of the strategy.
No idea what that would be. I think it goes game to game. It's interesting when you play the Spurs. We've played a couple of teams like this. You better take the first available good shot because the next few are hard to come by and their length will get you. You see so many times when guys try to get too close to the basket against length. And, if you can't get an angled layup where you have an advantage on the defender, then the next available shot may be a 3, it may be a long 2, it may be a mid-range 2, but it's got to be to your range, your best shot. I'm not as concerned right now with where we are as a team just because of, what our guys do well without necessarily hoisting up threes that are not within our range.
Brad,
important was it for you to get back to
It's really important. Obviously, a good, good time for me, and obviously it was great to see him.
how would that mean to you to see him?
Well, it's anytime you have somebody that you really care about that's struggling with something, I think it's paramount to any of us that we would go and find a way to get out there and see that person. And it worked out with his treatments being the timing of those, and with us being in Milwaukee and being off on Tuesday, it made a lot of sense to do it. And, I just tried to get over there as soon as I could and be back there in a month, which is good. So you hate to see anybody go through that, let alone a 23-year-old. But he is a tough cookie now. And you talk about different strengths of people and all the things that we talk about with regard to talent. His toughness level is as high as they come. So I have no doubt that he'll kick this thing to the curb.